Hello, Ravi here, and I'm at a lake nearby, near my place. It's called Bagarzi. I'm with my wife, spending some time out, and it seems like normal life is slowly and gradually resuming. So people are here. They're careful. They're maintaining their social distance. But unlike India, Germany is still not that densely populated. So people can afford to venture out and still not crowd the roads. Two of my favorite Indian film actors died in successive days this week, Irfan Khan and Rishi Kapoor. Irfan Khan was at the peak of his career and died way too young. And it made me ponder about death. In fact, I wrote a post on Instagram which read, because you only get to witness everyone else's death and never yours, you live thinking that you are the luckiest to survive. But that's not true. No one will survive. Each of you will die at some point, and you do not know when. Now, does that thought make you uneasy or does it motivate you? It depends on how you look at it. So, the Greek Stoics, they were the people who followed Stoicism philosophy. They used to contemplate death all the time. It was the main driver in life, and the phrase Memento Mori is the Latin for remember that you will die, or remember you are mortal. Marcus Aurelius, the Greek king who was the practitioner of Stoic philosophy, once said, "Let each thing you do, say, or intend be like that of a dying person." The Stoics thought about death all the time. Memento Mori was seen as something that should be squarely looked at in the face and reminded ourselves of every day. They used death as a sort of compass towards life, guiding them towards what really mattered to them. In fact, they used to meditate on death so as to get rid of some of the fear about it. They believed that it was important to surrender your love of life daily, to learn that tomorrow is never promised and that all we have is how we act today. Steve Jobs used death as a life motivator. One of his famous quotes was, "Death is very likely the single best invention of life. It's a life change agent." Most of us live like we will live forever. We squander days like we have limitless supply of days in our lives. We forget how light our grip on life really is. You might be hit by corona tomorrow, you might be run down by a car on the road while crossing it, or you might die of cancer. But most of us forget about our mortality. However, the ones who live passionately are the ones who are deeply aware of the temporary nature of our lives. Hence, they live with a sense of urgency. To pursue things that you love is now. Someday is a myth. There is never a good time to start living your dreams, and things will never be perfect. So, you might as well start now. Reminding ourselves each day that we will die helps us treat our time as a gift. It helps us not waste time complaining about how we would like things to be, which are otherwise outside our control. It helps cut down on bullshit and the unnecessary. It suddenly doesn't feel rude to say no on things that don't add any meaningful value to your life. Spending even a minute in our day to delve on the mortality brings us perspective and sense of urgency. The existence of death need not be depressing because it can actually refuel and re energize you. Now, if you're watching this and this resonates with you, you might be inspired for some time, but you would fall back to old ways and forget about your mortality tomorrow. But if you incorporate this thought in your life as a daily ritual, you would never forget it. Here's the ritual that you can follow in your morning every day that can be helpful. A key part of the Memento Mori morning ritual is being grateful for your life. And you will find that many advocates of the morning ritual or stoicism around the world spend the very first minutes of their day simply being thankful. One way to do this is to silently meditate or contemplate and be thankful that you have actually woken up. for those who love you, and for the gifts of life that you have. Many people will not have this privilege today. Whether you consider yourself spiritually inclined or not, this is a great frame of mind to put yourself for the day and remember your death in a positive mood. Here's a prayer to meditate upon that you could use. Feel free to adapt it as you wish. Thank you for all the gifts of life that I have today, the relationships that I have, the comforts that I have, the health that I have, and the knowledge that I have. Today, may I not even for a minute squander the greatest gift of life, time, but instead focus every moment on what I can control with virtue and self discipline and to be of value to the world. And then, after this prayer, visually imagine if you were to die next month, how would you conduct yourself today? This little ritual every morning could put you in a great frame of mind. I'm going to end this episode reading excerpts from one of my favorite books, The Laws of Human Nature, from one of my favorite author, Robert Greene. Robert had his last chapter dedicated to death and mortality. Here's what he says in the book. Most of us spend our lives avoiding the thought of death. Instead, the inevitability of death should be continuously in our minds. Understanding the shortness of life fills us with a sense of purpose and urgency to realize our goals. Training ourselves to confront and accept this reality makes it easier to manage the inevitable setbacks, separations, and crises in life. It gives us a sense of proportion of what really matters in this brief existence of ours. Most people continuously look for ways to separate themselves from others and feel superior. Instead, we must see the mortality in everybody, how it equalizes and connects us all. By becoming deeply aware of our mortality, we intensify our experience of every aspect of our life. We must focus hard on the uncertainty that death represents. It could come tomorrow, as could other adversity or separation. We must stop postponing our awareness. We need to stop feeling superior and special, seeing that death is a fate shared by all of us and should bind us in a deeply empathetic way. We are all a part of the brotherhood and sisterhood of death. I hope you liked the episode. I'll be back again with another topic next week. Bye bye.